The next rudiment that we're going to look at is the paradiddle, and it comes in different flavors. There's single paradiddle, double paradiddle, triple paradiddle, paradiddle diddle. But for now, in its simplest format, the single paradiddle basically combines a couple of single strokes and a couple of double strokes. So we have right-left, which is a pair of singles, and right-right, a pair of doubles. And then it leads to repeating the pattern starting on the opposite hand, left-right, which is a pair of singles, and left-left, which is a pair of doubles. So that's basically the single paradiddle. And it lends itself to having the downbeats accented. So we go right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right. It's easy to accent the downbeat of the pattern. And this can be also built up in speed like the double stroke rule because we have the doubles here. We can get that controlled bounce happening and control it with the fingers and bounce the stick and really build it up. But where this gets really interesting when you're applying it to the drum kit is shifting the accents around, accenting other beats other than the downbeats, and shifting around the pattern, rather than starting right on the first note of the four group, or the four-note grouping rather, because it's obviously a four-note pattern, start it somewhere in the middle of the pattern. You get odd sticking patterns that lead to nice displacements when applied around the kit. We'll look at all that in future videos. But for now, here's the single paradiddle programmed and played on a snare drum. And again, I'm using alternate samples for the same snare drum, and this is what it sounds like programmed. So that's it with the downbeats accented, the natural way of playing it. And here's what it looks like played live. One of the most common applications of the paradiddle is to break up the sticking between the hi-hat and the snare drum. So here we have the paradiddle sticking broken up between the hi-hat and the snare. So basically the right hand always plays the hi-hat and the left hand's always on the snare, and the accents and the ghost notes are exaggerated. So you try and hit those downbeats really hard and the soft notes really quiet. And here it is, just the pattern on hi-hat and snare. And this can be played at different tempos, and it really gets funky when you play the quiet notes really quietly and add the kick drum in to really add some syncopations and drive the groove along. So this can be played like this and at different tempos, but you can also double up and have it played double time and then have the right hand move over to the snare for the backbeat. Here's what all this looks like live. So here's that paradiddle pattern again, same thing between the hi-hat and the snare, and we're going to add on some kick drum. Now I've stretched it out over a few bars, and I've put the kick drum on a separate region here just to make it a bit easier to read. Basically the hi-hat and snare are playing exactly what we just saw, and here's the kick drum pattern, and here it is together. You can get some nice kind of syncopations. This is a relatively irregular and busy kick drum part, but this is what it sounds like. So nice part, and here it is with the drums to look at. And finally, here's a simple little bass and piano part just to give you an idea of what it sounds like in context, and I'll leave the drums up for you to hear as it's playing. So it gives it a kind of driving feel. That constant interplay of the ghost notes between the snare and the hi-hat really adds some motion to it. Now here's another example, and I have the paradiddles now played between the ride cymbal and the hi-hat. So the right hand remains on the bell of the cymbal, and the left hand plays the closed hi-hat, but it moves to the snare for beats 2 and 4. And some notes on the hi-hat are accented for variety, so I've played around a bit with the accents here. And again, here it is with a simpler kick pattern. I'll solo just these two for you, and then I'll add in some bass and piano. So here the ghost notes aren't so ghosted, rather. They're accented to give some interesting variations. So here it is with, again, a little bit of a bass and piano part added on, just to give you a sense of context. So just a couple of basic ideas to get you started with the single paradiddle. We're going to dig into more detail in the next video.